I hope everyone here has a pleasant evening. Thank you all.
You know, when a show goes from legendary status, overly excited for season 2, anticipation like no other, and then I literally forget to watch season 3 until a week late, you know something went terribly wrong. Even though some people defend season 2 because it's Squid Game, I think it will go down as the undisputed worst season. But luckily, season 3, the final season, is pretty good. I would describe it as back to the basics, back to what made the show so great to begin with, but not to the same level. I will stand by season 2 not being that good, like to dislike ratio be damned. When you look at the latter 2 seasons, it's obvious why this one's way better. Given these seasons are way shorter but still take up one Squid Game competition, it's more or less a longer version of season 1. Kind of like a part 1 and part 2, and it was season 2 that had the bulk of time to fill. I still say season 2 had some bad ideas that I won't reiterate right now, definition of not being climactic, but we had a good amount of long episodes that featured little to nothing interesting, and characters that weren't that developed and failed to make the audience care. What I'm trying to say is that season had the harder job. It had to recapture what made season 1 so good, and fill more episodes that really shouldn't have been. The show continuing past season 1 was debatable by itself, but if anything, one more season would have been enough. They could have trimmed out the dull, pointless sections, the ideas that simply didn't work, and you'd have one cohesive season that wouldn't be as good, but it'd be a satisfying conclusion. Luckily, season 3 is just that, a satisfying conclusion, but that's only because the setup was already there. I'm not going to keep on that, it is what it is. And season 3 is not just season 1, but not as good. Some of it is, it's blatant outright imitations in a few ways, but in the same vein, important plot elements are masterfully handled, and some things are even improved on. Even things from season 1. There's a lot to dislike too, it's by no means perfect. But it's a season to end the show off on a pretty good note, so let's get into it. This is Squid Game Season 3. Okay, I should have probably seen this coming, but it does turn out player 246, the father, was not fatally shot. Obviously done on purpose by Kang Ha-neul, and unfortunately the entirety of their subplot throughout the season is still the least interesting thing. You see, the issue with season 3 is there's still 3 things going on, one of which being the games, which is the most fun to watch, but watching these 2 try to escape is the least interesting thing. Season 1 had the same issue, but at least it had a few twists thrown in. This really doesn't. And the other thing happening, the frontman's brother trying to find the island, is okay. Now that we know Captain Pak is bad, it's not really going anywhere either. It's better than season 2 when they did nothing, but it's the same issue of the games being the only thing you really want to see. Luckily, unlike season 2, we get plenty of them, and this time the pacing is not a complete disaster. As you know, almost everybody involved in the rebellion is dead. Sung Gi-hun is very depressed, refusing to even vote. And Asian Robert De Niro is still the most unlikable thing around, kind of like the real one.
You got us a larger share. Thanks for that. Now let's show our man some gratitude with a round of applause!
They of course vote to keep playing, and the next game is much more universal, known as hide and seek. They're all randomly given a red or blue vest, and the red vest get a knife and are told to kill at least one blue vest player, while the blue vest try to escape with the keys around their neck. The keys open doors, but not every key, meaning teaming up is ideal, and if you have all 3 and find the main exit, you're allowed to leave. They can also trade vests given both sides agree, such as the mother and son, with him saying he will kill somebody so she won't have to, and 222 and 333, again promising that he will find her. Given that he teams up with the psychopath, I have a feeling that was a bad idea, and I like how the unlikable characters, like Asian De Niro and the shaman, are given blue vests. In contrast, Gi-hun is not given a blue vest, and clearly wants to kill the fake Marine who fucked up the plan. I do find it a bit odd he's so insistent on killing somebody who clearly made a mistake and froze up, but I think the idea is he's kinda losing it. That being said, the hide-and-seek game is a drastic change, having people physically killing each other with knives, but I will say the first episode is a promising start. Episode 2 brings the suspense the show was desperately missing. Ideas like not all the keys fitting, 333 and the Psycho stabbing somebody at once, and only getting half the kill, proving it was a bad idea to give him the vest to go on a killing spree for fun, and the shaman is proven to be a completely fake prophet, getting her subordinates killed. It's all good character development that you don't completely see coming, some of it you might, but the episode is full of shocking moments. Such as 222's water breaking, meaning she's having the baby now. That will be a point of contrast. Literally having and delivering a baby within a few minutes in that environment. Highly unlikely. Maybe it's because it's a CGI baby, that may explain it. But similar to the Season 1 Ganbu episode, this is kind of trying to be, it has a good amount of main character deaths. The shaman needs Agent Dinero to open the exit door, as she only has one key. But upon insulting him, he grabs the key and locks her in. I believe they said they couldn't be relocked, guess it doesn't include the exit doors. And the weak guy, in a bit of a daze, kills her as he was given the red vest. I definitely enjoyed that. The military trans person does take out a number of red vests too, but is inevitably killed off by 333, supposedly by mistake. As in, the trade was a bad idea. Gyun-hun does eventually track down Jun-ho, and the confrontation is debatable. Like I said, maybe he lost it, but I do have an issue with him wanting to kill him so badly.
With you guys, maybe even a fucking loser would have a chance to survive.
It's your fault.
I got freaked out and couldn't move.
It's all your fault!
It's not that easy though. He does eventually choke him to death, followed by the "it was my fault" deal. And I'll be honest, it's not the best thing about the episode. I don't really believe he was wasted as some people do. For me, it's more of a logic issue. I definitely don't see him as an underused character. I prefer the mother and son dilemma, in which he couldn't kill anybody. And given he can't kill his own mother, it's 222 instead who will die despite the baby. Another real effective moment, the mother essentially kills her own son, but when you really think about it, this does work. You could argue it's a bit odd a mother would do this, but she did give him the red vest, making it her responsibility, and she even gave him a chance to kill her, which he again wouldn't do, but it does give it a lot of reasoning. You could also say, why would he kill her and not anybody else? But given it's almost the end, he may be getting desperate. It's probably the episode's highlight, the most effective moment. I like how we almost only focus on the game here, aside from a bit with the father, but I don't care. But that being said, it's not quite the Ganbu episode, and I think it's trying to be. Characters not happy with their decisions, lots of dead bodies, definitely a similar ending, but not even close to as effective. Kinda wish they didn't try to copy that tone, because it's not gonna happen. That episode was legendary for a reason, but you could also argue things have to elevate somehow. The Season 2 games are not similar at all, aside from Red Light Green Light being the same. These games kind of are similar, but it's not the biggest issue. I will say I missed the games that weren't as chaotic. Season 1 had 2 of those, one being Ganbu, but in this case they all seem to be chaos, and it is a lack of contrast. All that said, Hide and Seek made for a good game. At this point in the second season, we had the issue of nothing happening, long episodes that went nowhere, off the island, literally nothing happened. But in this case, the comic relief proves to be useful, he doesn't trust Captain Pock, and is off to find evidence. It's not more fun to watch than the games, but it does go somewhere, and his character is not pointless. The whole escape plan plot is continued, if you care. In that case, I don't. And given the Psycho lost his pills, even though he had only like 2 left, he now votes to leave. In contrast, the wimp votes to stay, who incidentally has the pills, and the result is the same. I really do like how the mother confesses to Gi-hun, as she blames herself due to giving her son the vest. That's not completely unreasonable, but then, similar to Season 1... yeah, that's kinda ridiculous. Granted, it's not as irrelevant in this season. In this case, you could say it's because he wouldn't accept what she said. Essentially giving up could have partly led to this. but given it literally happened after the same number of games, it's kinda hard to look past that. I really don't see her doing this. Yeah, she got her son killed and her other friend just died, but I still don't buy it. Especially because 222 was still there and has a baby, not to mention her leg was severely messed up in the last game. So basically, she kinda just abandoned her. You could say she lost it mentally, but I don't buy that either. So it does seem like them copying the first season and just good old-fashioned plot convenience. They also continue the "you made your own choices." I'm really getting sick of that.
We all chose to come here. Miss Chung chose. Hyunju chose. And so did you.
They did not know what they were getting into. It's the one big issue Season 1 had. Having a vote does not fix it. They're at the mercy of that vote, so it's still not fair. Luckily, in the same episode, the games do continue. The main reason Season 3 is not bad, and nothing gets too boring, even if it's not all good. Like I said, it had the easier job. The VIPs are again here, this time allowed to kill people. I like how they have a new look, and I really like how they commonly reference American culture.
This might turn 222 into some kind of Marvel superhero. Like Wonder Woman.
That's actually a DC superhero.
I also really like how they emphasize not caring about anything aside from entertainment, and it definitely hits the right tone. And yeah, I know they're unanimously disliked, but I kinda thought that was the idea. May not be as mysterious as in Season 1, but then you're just doing the same thing. Again, you gotta switch things up somehow. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't mind the VIPs in this. It is what it is. The next game takes the place of the glass stepping stones, so falling will be a thing. And this is when Season 3 kinda fixes an issue that Season 1 had. The game ends up being jump rope, meaning they must do that and cross the bridge. And while not as climactic as glass stepping stones, not even close, at least it isn't bullshit. With that, it was automatic death for almost everybody. Most of them had zero chance of making it. In this case, it's still intimidating, but definitely doable. Unfortunately, episode 4 does bring up an issue, and we'll get to that, but to wrap this up, the Psycho was taken out. Can't say I really cared about him. He kind of just took the last guy's place. Obviously, 222 can't do this, so Gi-hun has to take the baby across, promising to come back. Incidentally, they will kill the baby if he doesn't cross, so that got a lot darker. Don't know why Asian Dinero cheers. And when the next player decides to not let anybody pass, we kinda see the issue here. Especially in the next episode, when this dilemma becomes the only reason almost any of them don't make it. So hit the like button down below first, and subscribe if you want to, because I have to say more negative things. Gaming channel's there too, same content with games, you know the drill, link in the description. What I'm trying to say is, despite how it may look, jump rope is apparently the easiest Squid Game, which is very odd given glass stepping stones was outright death, but passing this game, given you're not hindered, is relatively simplistic. For that reason, it will not invoke the same tension as in Season 1, but I can't deny how fucked up that game was. Also, this line is cool.
What if I decide to push you from behind? Then I wouldn't have to split the price.
Obvious reference. In the end, he's taken out in a unique manner. 333 inevitably abandons 222, proving he's not really any good. Already obvious given the killing spree, but now we know he doesn't really care, and more evidence later will support that. Unfortunately, due to the dilemma, there's no time to go back. Not that he really could have carried her anyway, and upon her death, the twisted leg is a nice touch. And again, her character was kinda wasted, maybe could have done more in the next game. But that said, her committing suicide does make sense. I mean, that's all she could have done. The main issue is, her and Gi-hun haven't done enough. They've barely spoken, aside from a few instances, but not really much in this season until the episode. I can't say it's that deserved. So I guess only men remain, definitely not American. But given they're almost all assholes, maybe it is. I mean, we know Asian Dinero is. But with the news that the baby will now count as player 222 and have a share of the money, well, they don't take it too good.
And all her money worth almost $5 billion?
That is correct.
Fuck that!
They even tried to kill the baby, but it's no longer allowed. And it's time again for a celebration meal. in which they find out the next game will involve choosing who will die, guaranteeing they again vote to stay. They plan on killing Gi-hun, the baby, and who they call the junkie. But then Gi-hun is called away, he's shown who the front man is, kinda forgot he didn't know that yet, and he's given the opportunity to take the knife and kill the other players in their sleep, thus ending the games immediately and any kind of fairness, but by now we know it's a load of shit. Problem is that all that happens, this is kind of a big moment. He thought this guy was dead, he finally knows who the front man is, but all he does is walks away, no real response is given, and that's it.
What kind of bullshit is this?
In the next episode, it will make more sense as to why he's given this chance, but I should point out the shit that goes down on the boat. The comic relief broke into Captain Pak's house, proving he was part of the games, and is arrested, but he manages to warn Jun-ho anyway just in time for most of the crew to be killed. But the harpoon does him in. Before he dies, he tells him his brother ordered him to save him, so that's worth noting. And the escape attempt for the other two is going quite well, until she finds out the masked officer knows who his daughter is, so she has to head back and take care of that issue. As you may guess, the next episode does not see Gun-hun killing 8 men, though he does think about it, and a flashback with Season 1's old man shows us the chairman was given the same opportunity, and he did in fact do it. So the moment when he watches him not do the same thing is real satisfying, and seeing the old man again is a nice addition. You know, behind a mask. As well as a memory of Brooke telling him he's a good person at heart. She was likely killed off under the intention of only 1 season, so it's good to see. Anyway, the final game looks real cool upon presentation, big stone statues of the game's logo, and the gimmick is for each round at least 1 person must be pushed off. However, more than 1 can go off, meaning more money, but the 6 men currently have some pact to not kill each other, and you can probably see where it's going. A final game about 6 old men trying to kill a baby. Good stuff.
What kind of bullshit is this?
Could have maybe used somebody else decent. Not the best balance. 333 eliminates a junkie in the first round, using a pole, while he hallucinates about his former love interest. Can't say that I cared about him, but a fitting conclusion. And moving on to round 2, getting him to let go of the baby will not be easy. Obviously, if they both go off, then in the next round, one of them has to go. They do devise a plan, but he still has that knife, so chaos ensues. Everybody we don't know dies, including Asian De Niro, but given they still have 1 round to go, that may have not been the best idea. After all, 333 is revealed to be the baby's father, so that might not be okay, and a big dilemma going into the final round. You could have just not killed him yet. I mean, there is 2 of you, and at the same time Noelle goes back to the island, eliminates the dad's record, but that's not good enough. They eventually get into a fight. She's wounded severely, but plot armor does the mask guard in. He was a bad guy. He then burns the remaining records, and at the island the father is rescued by Jun-ho, and now knows exactly where the island is. So now the finale is all set up with a big dilemma in the final game. 333 has made the decision to basically take the baby by force and throw it off the end, while not letting Gi-hun cross over, and claiming all the money.
What an asshole.
Makes it over anyway, and a fight ensues. And like most of the cast in this movie, it does again bear noting that 333 kinda sucks. Obviously a not as good version of Sang-woo, and in the end, while it is somewhat unavoidable, they could have maybe had a different final antagonist. Season 1 was unique by making it Sang-woo, not the obvious bad guy, but I don't see why Season 3 had to do the same thing. Maybe let it be Asian De Niro, maybe even the crazy guy from Season 2, or this season, but in this case we have another, not as good version. Kind of defines the season. In the end, they both hang off the ledge, 333 doesn't make it, and that would be a happy ending, but damn it, nobody pressed the button. And if nobody presses the button, the round doesn't start, therefore it doesn't count, so you know what this means. At the same time, Noelle's contemplating ending it, but then this happens.
We are not horses. We are humans. And humans are...
I can't say I didn't see that coming, but this is pretty good. Yeah, he sacrifices himself to save the baby, obviously, and a lot of times this kind of thing doesn't work out. Lead characters dying is not always the right move, especially after they go through a lot of shit and survive all kinds of things you wouldn't survive. But in this case, bringing that line back the way they did, the front man being surprised by it, the effect it has, it really is how this kind of thing should be done. It's perfectly fitting. If somebody told me he was gonna die at the end, I wouldn't expect to like that. But when it's done correctly, and not just for shock value, it has the right effect. I'm not a fan of Ha-neul, but choosing to live upon seeing this is also effective, so a nice ending there. However, the brother finally getting inside doesn't accomplish anything. He sees him and asks why he did it, but that goes nowhere. So, everything that happened on the boat, all those dead men, all that shit, is for this.
No! Why? Why'd you do it? No!
Yeah, there are a few ending bits, and one of the things that happens is the front man gives him the baby and the prize money, so that's one thing, but he probably would have done that anyway. It still makes all the casualties pointless. And overall, I kind of feel screwed there. The thing with the dad is a better conclusion. Obviously the kid lives. Ha-neul may or may not find her daughter, so that's a possibility. And Se-book's brother, who has not been mentioned in some time, gets a happy ending. Reunited with his mother, so that's a good thing. And finally, the front man, In-ho, heads to LA and gives the remaining money to Gyun-hun's daughter. Again, it's nice to see, but the fact that it ends with the island getting blown up, no accountability, and just going away is real anticlimactic. I don't hate it like some people do. I don't think it's supposed to be a happy ending, so I may defend it to a point, but it made the VIPs real unlikable on purpose. Again, a lot of it goes nowhere, so it does continue the idea that the show shouldn't have kept going. However, what I won't defend is this. Cate Blanchett playing an American recruiter, implying the games have not ended, and I have a feeling why this may have happened. Perhaps Netflix decided, we can't really end the show, it makes money, so one way or another, it has to continue even if it's American. Let's face it, that could be what this means.
What kind of bullshit is this?
I wish it was a bit more clear. I could watch a video explaining it, but honestly, I shouldn't have to do that, so it's what it is. Unlike Season 1, the ending stuff isn't as lengthy, but it's also not as impactful. It's still half the episode, but I wouldn't say any of it is that great. It's satisfying enough, but overall, unremarkable. It's kind of what the season is. I definitely enjoyed it, though it did have the easier job, but if I really had to say, I'd stand by the fact it should have ended at Season 1. It's not going to make me popular, and I do think the season did the best it could, but you really can't repeat something so great. I would have left it alone, but given Season 2 did happen, it's the best ending we could have hoped for, outside of a few issues. Main thing being the games are the most interesting. Luckily we do get enough of them this time. But when it goes on to something else, and I mean anything else, it stops being fun. I don't care about the escape, I don't care about the stuff on the boat that much, that really goes nowhere, and you still get the idea that a lot of it was done as an obligation, and not something anybody really wanted to make. Luckily the main stuff is really good, somewhat of a less good version, but really good nonetheless. All the games are satisfying, the jump rope does look a bit too easy, but the finale is superbly done. So many things could have gone wrong, the baby being thrown in, the lead dying, but it all pretty much works. And giving enough time to that is the reason I enjoyed this, and not Season 2. Thing is, Season 1 had an issue too when it came to that, as in the side stuff wasn't as good, but you kind of still cared. In this case, I don't, so it's way more of a flaw. Like I said, it should have just been one season. And then all the issues people like to deny exist wouldn't be as big of issues. Unfortunately, when you take something so prolific and say, we're gonna make 2 more seasons because we can make 2 more seasons, I'm gonna hold it to that standard. I'm not gonna call it a letdown. It's flawed in many ways, but it's also good in many ways. There's a few things the best, some things masterfully, but nothing I'm really gonna think about too much. And overall, that's the best they could do. And that's the end of Squid Game. So, that said, I'm the analyst. And remember, kids, lightning in a bottle is called that for a reason.